KGB bar. It's a big one. It's an open mic, 3.5 minutes. Brian's going to be there. Olivia's going to be there. We're all in competition against each other because 30 poets, and the winner of the open mic competition gets a reading there in the fall. They attend this. But it's KGB bar. It's a famous place, you know. It's a prestigious place to read, you know. Yeah, it's an exciting contest. You know, WrestleMania was yesterday and now this. Wish me luck.
Right. So that's with the monkey poem. This one, you know, it's going the other way. So this one's a little bit about the deities. It's called Wedded to Digression. Deny that I am. What am I to be denied? Chaos, chaos, chaos cannot define. All I want are the doors to shut me out.
Evicted. Sitting at the window of the Luck Brothers coffee shop on First Avenue.
So this reading, like most of my winter and spring, was just kind of a disaster. And it had such good intentions and such high hopes, and it just kind of ended up being just like kind of a mediocre embarrassment, I guess. My camera cut off right there for some reason, so I actually don't, it's not like I cut it out of embarrassment, like I actually don't have my recitation of the poem. Like, it was an awkward reading because they were very upfront, they were not very hospitable, or like, you know, there's 30 poets who are sort of on the fringe, you know, like, it's an open mic. We're not the most schooled, you know, we're all pretty green, we're all pretty, you know, we're hopefuls. And the first thing they say is, like, you get 3.5... They give us these score sheets, and we're supposed to rate each poet as they go up on a scale from 1 to 5, you know, which is just, like, a totally heinous, hideous thing to do to any kind of artist whatsoever. But they say you have exactly 3.5 minutes, and they've got a timer right next to the microphone, like a clock, you know. And they say if you go over 3.5 minutes, that they encourage everybody in the audience to dock you at least 1 point, if not 2, or something outrageous, you know. So they just kind of start out just scaring the shit out of everybody, you know. So nobody really went up and like sounded their barbaric yawp or anything, you know. It was all very, everybody was really nervous and really kind of clinched, you know. And I went up and I actually, I didn't smoke weed before the reading, which is my typical ritual, and kind of what puts me into the bardic realm, or at least that's so I thought. And I don't necessarily know that that's true, but, I mean, my whole spring was just this hideous... I'm not going to say it was a misadventure, because it felt like I was on the right track. It felt like, you know, I'm reading poetry at KGB bar in the East Village. I didn't pick the right material. I didn't want to offend anybody. So I read this poem that was much more kind of plain-spoken and sort of homespun kind of wisdom-y, called Evicted, rather than my typical kind of antic, fuck you, punk rock, frankly fabulous poems that I had been reading. I wasn't really in the vibe at all, and like, the timer went off. The second poem I read was Your Mom, which is sort of like a thumb in the eye, and it's very like profane and scatological to some extent. And there's a line in the poem where I say, I fucked your mom last night, and the timer went off like shortly after that line, so I didn't even get to finish the poem, not wanting to jeopardize, you know, my chance at winning. I obeyed the 3.5 as soon as the timer went off. Like, it went off, like, awkwardly with, like, you know, your little iPhone alarm ringing or something right in the middle of your poem, you know? Like, I understand they don't want people to go long, I don't necessarily think they had to be that strict about it, but I just stopped. I just said thank you right in the middle of my poem. So I read one poem that was like extremely like Norman Rockwell-y, kind of like American figurative, and then the other one which was just this kind of like Juggalo Ashbury State Fair kind of carnival barker thing, and I only read half of that. So I didn't really get my hopes up about winning that much. But it just felt like I wanted to be so good at this and to really come into my own maybe as like a reader and a poet, and the opposite is what happened, you know. I guess I dreamed my way into failure.
The accident. Even now it is ended. The unslept street grows dark.
Where are you going?
Are you taking a picture of us?
No, you're on TV.
Oh, hey, we're on
You're
TV.
famous. I gotta.
And then
Are we supposed to be self-reflexive too?
No,
you missed
you just
out.
be natural.
I can be
You just be
self-reflexive.
yourselves. You know.
I mean,
you had that code in your phone though.
I'm self-reflexive.
I have it in a notebook, and I remember exactly.
Flexing.
Okay.
I think maybe the takeaway of tonight is that, well, you know, I'm not a poet, but I do play one on TV, you know, and maybe that's better in this day and age. I don't know.